Welcome to a short Bitcoin update today. We are still on 30k, but are we going to break out to the upside as slowly but surely a few altcoins are actually starting to move, which I'll be updating in the coming few days. I'll also be providing a new update on my altcoin portfolio. I know it has been silent for some time, but we are back with the trading. There have been lots of stuff going on. So I'm on the altcoin portfolio, which you can follow in the Discord beneath. Also, what you can do is we've got the final day of the 5% discount on the crypto course, which you can find beneath as well. It's the kickstart of yourself to get going in the crypto markets, which is slowly heating up. We are in that range for Bitcoin between 30k to 31.5. We are on the edge of finally having some movements across markets, as yesterday CPI data came out. I've discussed it in the previous update already, but CPI data came out and the CPI data was positive. Today there is PPI data. If that comes out positive again, there is a strong argument for the Fed to stop the pausing or stop the hikes, or at least pause, as there is also weaker economic data coming in from the markets, which is another ingredient. And I mentioned already before that if there is a window that they pause, which is usually a period of 3 to 6 months before they need to decrease the overall rates again because economy is slowing down, that window is usually where we are going to see strength on the markets. And I think the only asset that has been correcting yesterday, that was Bitcoin, which we can see on the screen. So we had a build up towards 31k. We had a correction from that area, and we have been going back up today after the correction. Now, if we look at different assets, if we look at gold, for instance, gold has been rallying up and starts to continue showing strength, which means that most likely the trend is going to be upwards there, as we've got this rounded bottom taking place. The actual reasoning is that once we break through this area at 1980, that is when we can start pacing up towards the all-time highs again. Same goes for the other commodities, which are silver, which is even showing more strength than gold is at this point, as it's usually also a multiplier. Additionally, based on the CPI data, we've got some more interesting features, which is that the dollar is currently making new yearly lows. And actually, it's the lowest point since April 2022. Due to which the expectations are that they need to stop the rating, or they stop increasing the rate hikes. Through that, we can see a softer dollar, and a softer dollar is actually what is needed to push the economy to stable markets to continue having economic growth. So due to the fact that they have been increasing the rate hikes so swiftly, or the hikes itself, it's going to give an impact that the dollar needs to become weaker and weaker and weaker over time to actually keep the economy going forward. So the trend is down, and most likely the trend continues to go downwards, even though we might be having a weaker PPI coming out, but CPI is falling off a cliff. Economic data is doing the exact same, which means that the dollar is continuing this downwards trend. There is uncertainty in the markets. That is why gold is going to start rallying up even more. Maybe we can still have a continuation on the indices in an illiquid market, but most likely the bonds are going to rally up, which means the yields are going to go down, and then also Bitcoin can start to pace up, especially since the ETFs are around the corner, miners are going up, big investment groups are stepping into Bitcoin miners, which means that it's only fueling more and more. So the dollar is hitting a new low here, where we can see that the bonds itself are into a huge rising wedge. I've just shared it for fun purposes. But what we can see is that we've got this crazy bearish divergence here on a technical perspective, which we also were experiencing in 2018 to 2019. So most likely the high is in. The markets are not expecting another rate hike to take place, and actually are increasing the chances of falling rate hikes to happen in the coming year due to the fact that the economy is becoming weaker and weaker and weaker. So in that regard, the yields are falling off a cliff again. We are down 6% on a day, which means that we dropped from 4.9% on the 2-year yields towards 4.66%. If we are looking at the 1 year, this is also having a deviation above this previous high, which means that we start to fall down pretty swiftly here. We are currently at a case of 5.3%, while the federal funds rate was going to expect it to be higher. So the markets are already assuming that we're going to have no rate hikes anymore, through which we most likely are going to have a continuation of this fall here, especially since we see the exact bearish divergence, which we were also anticipating here. Ingredients for the Bitcoin markets to do well. So in that case, if we flip back towards the total market cap, we can also agree that we're still in a case that we're looking for a new higher high. That window of 3 to 6 months, that might be around the corner. That might be the case that we're going to experience here right now, which means that if EDX goes live and Ethereum is on it, Bitcoin Cash is on it, Litecoin is on it, they are not security, which means that Bitcoin and crypto can go hand in hand. But if there is a fluent move on Bitcoin, which is going to be pushed significantly, that most likely will induce that altcoins will drop a little bit in the Bitcoin pair and start following the moment that our Bitcoin stabilizes. Going towards Bitcoin at this point, Bitcoin is still stuck in the range, so there are a few areas of interest. First of all, we have not been breaking through 31k at this point, which means that if we get a breakthrough, that is your clear target for an entry point here, through which you can expect continuation to take place. The second area that we are in is the area 30.2 that we just reached. As long as Bitcoin stays above that, we are fine for continuation. If Bitcoin is going to lose that area, we are looking at a case that we sweep all these lows and get into the area of 28.8 to 29k. Those are the three zones that I'm looking at, expecting a breakout to the upside, in which 32.5 is the crucial area that we need to break through. If we break through it, 38 to 42 is the next area, and that is what I'm looking at for this short update. Back tomorrow.